Welcome to Sisters in Sobriety. Today we're joined by Anna Lecat, an intimacy and conflict consultant, global speaker, and author of the book Loving Conflict, Creating Collaboration Where Others See Division.
Her work centers on something many of us in recovery are still learning in real time: emotional responsibility. So many women in sobriety describe conflict as one of the most triggering and destabilizing parts of healing. But Anna reframes conflict not as a threat, but as a doorway.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very excited to talk to the two of you.
We are so excited you're here. So, for listeners meeting you for the first time, how do you describe what you do?
I travel the world, I meet many different people, and I am doing everything possible to persuade people that it's okay to conflict as long as we know how to do it gently. So I am actually persuading people to fight kindly because in my life, over many, many years of being a global CEO, running multiple businesses, I'm on my third immigration. So I've had many conflict, internal and external. And I've learned that once I face the conflict, once I have that difficult conversation, things get only better. We get more trust, we get more intimacy, better relationships, and life is just better.
I couldn't agree more. I think that is very true. What drew you first to studying this, studying intimacy, conflict, and emotional responsibility?
My main value is relationships. It's my priority. My personal relationships is my absolute priority before anything else. And so I've been always, since a little kid, I've been learning about people, about why, how they relate, how they stay attached, how they fall in love, how they love each other well. And so this obsession about loving well and being loved well is what drives me every day to study, to investigate, to research, to take classes, to work with people. And I also deeply believe that when people are loved well, which means they're seen, deeply seen and cared for, they don't need to wage wars. There is this deep belief in me that people who go to wars are people who are not loved enough. And so I think that in my little life, if I can touch enough people to teach them how to be loved well and how to love well, maybe there is a little chance that there will be a little bit fewer wars.
Mm-hmm. I say this in my practice all the time. If we could learn this, if we could learn emotional responsibility, there wouldn't be conflict in that way in the world. There might be disagreements,
Mhm.
but there wouldn't be war anymore.
I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about being loved well, does that go beyond romantic relationships? Or because I think that's sort of our natural go-to. It's like, oh, she's talking about romance, but you're talking about more than that, aren't you?
I'm talking about that and more than that. So I think, first of all, I'm talking about romantic relationships, uh, being deeply loved and adored. And we can also receive that from other people and give it to other people. So our parents, our children, our friends, our sisters-in-law, our coworkers. So yes, it goes beyond that. And I think that the romantic love uplifts us so much, makes us better. And then we can carry that energy everywhere else around. But I also know people that get the same uplift from friends, from dear friends, and I certainly do also. I also have very deep relationship with my parents, where I get a lot of uplift and give also.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What do you think people misunderstand about conflict the most?
We're taught not to conflict, to avoid it,
Yeah.
to be nice to each other. And I think that especially women are taught to avoid conflict because it is often dangerous for us, because
Yeah.
aggression is physically more dangerous to us than for us than to us than to men. And so we're taught to stay away and to avoid and to calm down the situation. Um, and so we are not taught to face difficulties early enough. So when the first time we feel yucky, something is
Yes.
off, we do
Mhm.
not know how to go and dig and ask questions then. And we wait until it escalates and then it's too late. And so those skills, and just, when we are little kids, we are taught not to fight.
Mhm.
Right? It starts right there.
Yeah.
Be
I hadn't even
nice.
thought about that. Yeah.
Versus, oh, what's going on there for you, and how, what are the skills, how to talk to somebody who's doing something that you don't like, that you prefer them to stop.
You describe conflict as a tango, tension plus connection. Can you explain that?
So I'm a tango dancer. I've been dancing for many, many years, and I actually dance both roles, so I know how to lead and to follow.
Mm.
And I'm really, when I do something, I get obsessed. So I traveled to Buenos Aires, Argentina, because that's where tango is from, many times, and I studied with master teachers, and I went really deeply into the philosophy and culture of tango. And now I travel all over the world, and I can dance with anyone. There is this, once you get good enough skill of connecting with another person, with another body, with another culture, with another way of thinking, I can, because I lead envelope, I can actually go and take anybody into the dance. And as long as that person is also listening and also creating with me, we can create something beautiful together that's bigger than both of us individually. And so the skills of listening carefully to myself first and then to the other person, then suggesting something gently and seeing how they respond, and then following their response. That's how tango works, is exactly how any conversation, especially a difficult conversation, works. Right. And so I'm just taking the skills of tango and taking it into the conversations. And that's what I do in my workshops. So I actually teach through tango, through the metaphor of tango. I teach people in corporations and during big events how to relate to each other without speaking first. So we use a nonverbal communication first. We relate to somebody we don't know, and we experience it in our body that it's possible to actually connect and feel deeply somebody else without talking. And then we carefully layer on the words.
Oh, and so,
Amazing.
yeah, your life and your work has spanned so many different cultures. So Ukraine, China, US, France. And so does that nonverbal style of communication, is it universal or is it
Absolutely.
culturally specific?
Oh, thank you. I love this question. I love the cultures. And yes, this is my third immigration. I went to China when I was 17, then from Ukraine, and then to the US. And I lived in San Francisco for 12 years. And now I've been living in Paris for 5 years. And I speak Mandarin fluently. So, and I really adapted China fully because I was so young and I really needed to understand the culture to survive and, and thrive there. And then the same happened again in California, and now also in France. And so I can say that, and now I lead the workshops in Mandarin, and I also lead them in France and in States. And so it's very interesting to see, when I work with the organizers of the events and they say, well, you've worked everywhere, but you don't really know this culture. We are different. I can tell you every culture thinks that they are unique and that nobody else is like that. And that even though you know every other culture, you don't know theirs. And I respect that. And I do think we're all unique. However, we're all humans. So that the fundamental desire to be loved and to be seen, and fundamental fears of what if I am not loved? What if I am not lovable? And the fear of death, the fear of losing the loved ones. These are all universal. And so maybe there will be different representation of fear. So people will show fear differently in different cultures, and they will show love differently, but the fundamental want and desire is there. And so when we drop the language and we start dancing, or we just we do a lot of eye gazing in my workshops. Like in China, for example, in Beijing, they told me before we did the workshop, oh, men in China will not eye gaze. It's so much against our culture. It's considered not polite to do it. And I said, okay, just let me let me play and see what happens. And it was amazing how this Chinese men were looking at each other for we start with 2 minutes and then we rotate, and so almost everybody in the room looks at somebody else in the eyes for 2 minutes while we listen to tango music. And they were doing it, and they were crying, and they were experiencing everything that there is next to experience when you for a long time just look at somebody else's eyes, especially if you don't know them. And I lead, it's a meditation, so I tell them to think about how this person was when they were 5 years old while they look at them. So those kind of experiences that are so heart opening, they are not culture specific.
And so one thing that does seem kind of universal with a lot of cultures is what you mentioned about we're taught to not fight and to not have conflict. And so how do you help people start believing that conflict can be a place of collaboration and not division?
We practice on small, difficult conversations first. And so it's by practicing and then looking back and looking at the results that then they slowly understand that when they get good enough at it, how we are, right? When we're good at something, we start loving it. And so then they start daring to do it more often in their lives. So just simple, difficult conversations when we're in a restaurant and we don't like our dish, to send it back or to just
I
to
can't do
have,
that. I can't do that.
that's it. So I think that's the best first step, is to do it the next time you do it. And it's about, so we learn the skills, right? So it's about that is what's going on with me. It's not about them. And then using the kindest voice possible and the soft eyes and your body language, that you are not fighting. You are asking, you're requesting something. And then making very clear requests so that the other person can win with you. And then when they do it, you reward them so that right? So
Yeah.
softness in you, clear request, and overwhelming reward. If you do it with your waiter multiple times and you see that when you are rewarding them, you're going to receive so much dopamine, right? And oxytocin, you're going to feel so good. And you will remember that in your body. Oh, that's how it feels to face a difficult conversation. And then step by step, we take that up and up, and then we take it to the most difficult conversations, which is in your family. It's like how Ram Dass said, if you think you're enlightened, go spend a week with your parents.
Yeah. Yeah, he did say that. Yeah.
I would like to
Right.
say to anybody, if you're thinking enlightened, go spend a week with my parents.
I
Right.
think this is good, and I like the just your the spectrum of conflict, like the waiter example, all the way up to the most difficult conversations with family. And on the weekend, I had to go back to a hairdresser, and I didn't like what she had originally done to my hair. And I was originally going to cancel the appointment, go to someone else,
That's what
avoid
I
the
would do.
conflict, right? And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. I also teach people as a couples therapist how to conflict, but I didn't really think of it in the same way as like when I teach people how to conflict in that relationship. But I went in and I said to her, I need to have maybe a hard conversation with you. Is that okay? Like, are you open to receiving my feedback on the last appointment? I first asked her, are you open to receiving it? And she was like, yeah. And I did. I stayed with the I just didn't like it was for me. I said, for someone else, it might have been great. But for me, it wasn't. Like I didn't feel this. I didn't like it in this way
What did you
specific. I
not
was really
like?
stopped.
Your
She
hair
was
looks
trying to do
great.
yeah, now it is
Oh.
because that's the moral of the story. Now it is because I went back to the same hairdresser. I gave my feedback in a gentle way. She took it. We actually had a great hairdressing appointment. She thanked me profusely for coming back in and being honest with her. She said, I didn't take it personally. I know, like, it was a great experience. And I know that's such a trite example, it seems like, but these are just the small conflicts that could be. It's how you handle it. I also told her the things I liked about what she had done with my hair the last time, and this is where I didn't. Like, it didn't work for me, and why? Not about her skill. It wasn't about her. It was about my own comfort. She did a great job.
Oh, that's such a great example, and it's so easy to do. I think that this point of you helped her be better. And I think that we forget that when we are afraid to go and complain to
Yeah.
somebody about their
Yeah.
service, we forget that it's kind to offer feedback because we forget that they are trying to do their best and they've done their best on that appointment and now they're going to do even better, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually like we receive criticism, kind criticism from our friends, and we experience it as, oh, you're helping me to be better, but we tend to not want to spend that energy to go and tell people outside of our
Mhm.
small circle of friends and family. And why not?
Mhm.
Yeah. I also sometimes look at it like you're raising a small human, so it's like you also have a responsibility to her to model, those things, right? And so I understand more like why you do it, where sometimes I can be like, "Well, I can avoid this hairdresser thing," but I feel like, "Oh, well, with you now, you just taught my niece, right?
Yeah.
Like, how to handle conflict." People mess up her hair all the time.
Yeah. They do. They
It's a
do.
curly hair
Yeah.
thing, I think, that is like a hairdressing nightmare. But, so Anna, since this is Sisters in Sobriety, and since we're doing examples, do you think people drink sometimes because conflict feels unbearable? And so I used to do this. I would always, before I would call my mother, I would pour myself a glass of wine. And, then that glass of wine over time turned into a bottle. But that is what I would do, and I would sort of, like, laugh it off as, like, well, it's kind of that wine culture. It's like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a glass of wine if I have to talk to my mom." But do you think that alcohol can sometimes play a role in people avoiding conflict?
Well, I think so. Um, and I think that when we have difficult conversations, I recommend not to take any substances to that we think those substances will give us more courage. Um, I recommend not to. In fact, for all my work, I ask that people are sober. So for the workshops, I ask organizers to not serve cocktails or alcohol, which is really tough. It's like, who are you to, to tell us how to organize our event? And and um, and I've also, yes, I've seen that people are they don't want to face the big emotions, right? And so they escape into different ways, not only substances but work, right? There are many other different ways to escape.
People do try to escape from their big emotions, and I think many women don't realize that they're drinking to numb big emotions such as anger. Uh, why do you think anger might be such a hard emotion for women to sit with?
Anger is the hardest emotion to sit with for anyone, men
Mhm.
also. And we are taught, there is such a stigma. Anger is such a stigma. We can show sadness, we can show joy, we can show jealousy. There are all these other emotions that are okay to show, but anger is never okay to show, especially to a girl. We are
Mm.
socialized like that, right? Like we are taught when we are little and we are angry, our parents will shame us. In every culture, actually, I don't know a culture where it's not the case. And so we just don't learn to show our anger in the way that that helps us. And so then we do things to escape it. And I just think that we need to bring anger back. There's a great book that came out, I think, last year called Good Anger. That talks about that and the history of how it happened that it was stigmatized. In China, I actually learned that I actually in Chinese culture, people know that when somebody displays anger, it's important to slow down, stop talking, and watch them and listen to them carefully. Because in anger, people disclose their deepest fears and their most important values. We're angry about the things we care about. We're angry about the things we care about.
Mm-hmm. I think that's something really good to remember. Yeah, if you can slow down and get curious with the person who's getting angry, what is beneath what you might hear? What do they care about? Yeah. How can someone tell the difference between healthy anger that signals a boundary versus anger coming from old pain or trauma?
See, I think that both of those are important to notice and express. It's just important to ask for consent. Is now the right time, right? It's just that I think that in relationships, it's important that we train each other to sit there in front of each other's anger and to make space to it and listen to it, because where else are we supposed to express it, right? So it's important to express. So, for example, for me, when I'm angry, I will say, I'm feeling very angry right now. Can we go deeper into this? Or can we explore?
Mhm.
Are you okay with exploring with me now? And then we go. It could be, I think most of the time it's about our old wounds, right?
Yeah.
When we have big emotions, it's about something that happened when we were 3 and not this particular situation now, right? Even boundaries come from our past wounds. And so, okay, I'm feeling angry right now because of what happened. However, I think it probably comes from when I was 4 years old and my brother didn't want to play with me. And what I'm looking for is tears for me. What I know that my anger protects my heart. So what I'm looking for from the other person is enough care and love so that I can break through the anger emotion and get to tears so that they can see me in my most tender self. But I cannot show that until I express anger. It's very difficult for me to go right away. If I'm angry, if something triggered me, it's very difficult for me to go right away to, oh, this is actually what's tender in me. So I'm asking, can I please express my anger and then go there?
It's interesting because to be able to express your anger, you do need to have someone to receive it properly, which, that also can be uh, to receive anger, whether or not someone is able to do that yet, can also be based on old wounds. Um, you know, I know for myself, I am not great with anger. It's taken me a long time to adjust to anger coming towards me because from my childhood, if there was anger, I would just shut down. I would learn to shut down and not receive the anger, right? So it is hard for me to receive anger still from people. I have to really notice in myself, in my body, what's happening in my body. Am I getting tension in my body? Can I breathe into that? Is this about this person who's expressing their anger in front of me, or is this my natural reaction? So what would you say to the person receiving how to receive anger?
Thank you so much for sharing about yourself. And you said it, right? It's, um, you know your boundaries, you know it's hard for you, you're working on it. And you know that you are becoming a better partner to everyone around
Mhm.
you. You face your old stories, right? You know what happened to you in the past, because the more people feel comfortable showing up fully in front of you, the deeper your relationships will be. So while it's hard, and it's hard for me too, uh, I know that I'm a better partner once I go through all that. So um, feeling your body, right? Being always in my body, being grounded in my body, coming back to it. What am I feeling right now? And expressing it to the person who is angry. Okay, you are angry. Can I please tell you, I'm feeling this. I am back to 6 years old when I was yelled at, and that's how I felt then. And I feel like this again now. Can we please pause, and I need a hug. And then we can go back to how you are feeling because I need this care now. Right? So caring for my body at all times and then going back, okay, now I'm full again. Now I can take more. Okay, tell me more. So it's a dance.
So expressing yourself as well, not making it about you if someone brings it up, but just saying, okay, I am feeling like I'm my 6-year-old self getting yelled at. I'm just going to take a beat. And then that person that's receiving the anger needs to also have is responsible for managing themselves as well. I'm hearing.
Yes, we all are responsible for managing ourselves and expressing our even big emotions in a way that cares for the other person.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes time to learn, and that's why we practice with small things. So it's a skill. I also think that when when we're talking about the relationship of the two, only one person can be working on it. We don't need both people to work on it.
What do you mean by that?
When you brought the other person that they also need to manage, actually, yes, it's great that if they're managing it, but I also don't think that it's necessary that both people do the work. I think only one person could be doing it and it still works. When I started studying nonviolent communication, I remember the first time somebody asked the teacher, well, I'm doing all this work, but my wife, she's not here. So how am I going? She doesn't know that she should be doing nonviolent communication. And the teacher said, it takes one. You change your ways. You change how you react. You change how you request and how you reward. And it's all going to change. And then maybe at some point the other person will want, maybe yes, maybe no, but maybe at some point they will want to also learn and they will ask you, what happened there? You've changed in the last several weeks. And then maybe there is going to be an opportunity to share the resource with them. But we should never not do something just because the other person also is not doing the work.
That brings me actually to people pleasing a bit, which is so in my situation when I was married, I was like super clear. I would say, "Hey, when you raise your voice, it makes me feel like I am 6 years old and my dad is yelling at me, and I need you to be." And I think I would use the term like, "I need you to just be like a little bit softer with me." And he refused repeatedly. And so in response to that, I started people pleasing more with him. So if I felt something, I would like squash it down and just say, okay, whatever you want, instead of getting into a conflict, because I knew how the conflict would go. And so what so that I guess is an example of one person doing some sort of work, but how do you not fall into that sort of people-pleasing behavior as a conflict resolution strategy, which I did because the other person was sort of unwilling to change. And so
I
that was
think
my
that,
default.
right. Look, I think that the fact that women develop people pleasing strategies because there's so much violence against women is understandable. I'm glad we have that. Right. One of the ways of
Mhm.
surviving is avoiding violent conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if this is the only way to stay safe, more power to us, right? So, I'm only talking about difficult conversations when we're safe. When there is any chance of violence and aggression, physical or mental, emotional, all bets are off. This work is not for those situations. But in those situations are for professionals to look at and I think that I'm never going to say to women do not do people pleasing because I am sure they're doing it because they need to stay safe.
So maybe I did it to stay emotionally safe. I don't think I was like
but still,
Yeah. Like, I knew I was
emotionally
dealing
safe.
with somebody who was not just wasn't gonna change. I wouldn't say he was terribly unsafe, in any other way. Kathleen, what do you think?
Well, I do think that what Anna is saying, of course, I totally agree with this. This work is not, if we're talking about an unsafe situation. Like, I think though sometimes we will have been in many unsafe situations, whether it's in childhood or earlier relationships, and then our go-to is people pleasing, for example, when it might be not an unsafe situation. So I do see that a lot in my practice where there have been women and men, quite frankly, that are, in their childhoods not in safe physically, emotionally, psychological. So they learn how to adapt. They learn different things to adapt, withdraw, they learn to people please. And then later on in life, they might be in a totally safe emotionally and physically and psychologically relationship, but they won't voice their needs. They will not have healthy conflict because they are just there. That adaptation is so present. That's so present. So,
Mhm.
for you, because I know you so well and I knew your ex-husband very well, and obviously I wasn't in your marriage, so I don't know if there was psychological abuse per se, and you can only answer that and you don't have to. But I think that because I know your childhood, this is an adaptation for you to people please.
For sure. It's easy like, any sign of conflict, I'm more comfortable people please. Like, I'm not gonna push the envelope, you know what I mean? I may, like, mention, like, "Hey, it'd be great if you could be softer." But if somebody doesn't react the way I would want them to, like, I'm not gonna push that extra.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go that
What do you
extra
think,
far.
Anna? What do you think about that? Do you think there are some situations where it might be a safe environment, but the go-to is still to people please, and maybe that's something to look at?
Absolutely. And I think that it's not in personal relationships that one needs to then look at. It's to do it everywhere else. It's to get obsessive
Mhm.
about facing difficult conversations everywhere else in your life until you get the
Mhm.
skill, until you know that you are very proficient at doing it. And then you go
Yeah.
back to the moments that trigger you, that remind you of something in the past. And then you slowly, carefully, with consent and with conversation before with that person, start introducing it in those moments. And so first the hairdresser, then the waiter,
Yeah.
then the Uber driver. It's just and then slowly people you work with, your sister-in-law, and then your romantic partner. Because if you feel if you get flooded with your romantic partner, that your romantic partner raises their voice, and you start um using your adaptive behavior, then it's not
Yeah.
the place to practice.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you don't wanna be practicing on that every single time. That's
Yeah.
not right.
That's a great way to think about it, is that my
Yeah.
skills were so weak that, like, he was not what I should have been practicing on.
Yeah.
You're right, I should have been practicing on waiters and yeah, because that as soon as I got, like, shut down, I was like, "Okay." Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
right,
That
yeah, that's a great way to look at it.
then you do not actually have your cognitive functions at that point to make clear requests. And
No.
then you start, right? And so in your case, you start people pleasing. Other people start being defensive or offensive, right?
Mhm.
So that's not the right time. And also, I think that reframing conflict is also very important.
Mhm.
Because when we think about hairdressers or waiters, you see, we think it's a conflict and means uncomfortable, unpleasant.
Mm.
Thinking about it is as a game.
Ugh.
How can I make this most interesting, most useful experience for me and that person? What am I going to find out about myself and the other person? And remembering that this moment here now with hairdresser, I'm doing it so that I can get skills for that important conversation and high stakes relationship. And I'm also training this person in front of me to also have these conversations. and be cool with it, and be proficient with it.
I think that's really true. And I love that. I think I'm going to apply that to my whole life, Anna, of like starting kind of with all my relationships kind of and working my way up. If the most common nervous system patterns are fight, flight, freeze, fawn, what does staying present look like when you are flooded emotionally? What does that look like?
So I meditate every day so that I can then be ready in those moments. And I do this meditation where I bring back, if I meditate at night, I will bring back the moments in the day where I got flooded. And I practice to calm myself down while bringing the memory of that flooded moment in. And I do it almost every day. So I process my day by calming myself down second time. And that gives me skills to then be a little bit better the next time it happens.
Mhm.
So if I lost it with my kids, I have 3 kids. If I lost it today with my kids, I will remember that. And then at night, it's actually super exciting to me because at night I know that I'm going to process it. And so I don't get angry with myself. I know that at night I will do it. And so then I meditate and I bring the moment in. I get flooded again. And I learn how to calm down my nervous system while thinking about it. And then that reminds me the next time. So that's one. Another one is that I'm constantly checking in with my body. I'm always, as a dancer, in tango, we are always, we always need to feel our axis. We always need to be grounded because we're giving and receiving somebody else's weight all the time. And so that like right now, I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, and at the same time, I'm feeling my seat touching the chair, and my legs are on the floor, and I feel them. And so, and I'm checking my neck. I'm feeling how my neck is doing here because I try not to do this. I want to be straight here. And so it's constant. I'm here with you, and I'm here with me at all times. That's my work.
Mhm.
And that allows me to stay present because I know what I'm feeling right now. So if I get scared, or if I get sad, or I'm overwhelmed with joy and love, I feel it. I think I feel it earlier because I am constantly here grounded with myself.
So it sounds like it's a combination of the mental and emotional fitness from daily, I call it mental fitness meditation because it really builds our muscle and of the mind and emotions and psychologically to withstand different things in our life. So it sounds like you have that practice. And then at the same time, when you're in relationship with someone, whether it's a conversation or something else, you're balancing being grounded in yourself and also being present with them. Did I get that
Yes.
right?
Thank you. Yes. And there is one more.
Mhm.
There's something else. I know when I'm with somebody else and they are getting flooded, if they are getting angry or they're getting upset. Most of the time, it's not about me.
Yes.
And this is with me at all times. This knowledge that first they're doing their best with the resources available to them right now. I know that. So if something is going on with them and they're losing it, they're losing control, they're doing their best right now. So that is with me. And then it's not about me. So if they got angry, it's probably because of what happened when they were 3 years old. It's not about me. I didn't do anything wrong. And so now that let's say somebody is there angry and they're yelling, it's not about me. I'm looking at them. I am recognizing the 5-year-old in them. And that's when compassion comes in. So this trick of recognizing the 5-year-old in someone, that's something that's been practiced for many, many years in me. So especially in heated discussions, in difficult conversations, I'm getting to that. If I feel like I'm losing it and I start to take things personally, I go to how were they when they were 5?
Right.
So, is that also why so many of us interpret anger or conflict as rejection? Is that rooted in something that happened to us in our childhoods, or is that a normal thing for us to see that as rejection?
When somebody's angry with you, you feel like they're
Mm.
rejecting you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Is it just me?
Um, I think that different people have different stories about anger, and it comes from what we've decided when we were little, when somebody got angry with us. Right? Some people think that they are unlovable and they will never be loved again. Some people think that they're in danger and they need to run, right? Like what Kathleen was saying, that there are different strategies. So I think it's just what we need to remember, that it's not about us, and that this person is in pain right now because they are really afraid of something. That just their fundamental fear was touched, or their fundamental value was touched, and they're in pain. Because somebody is expressing anger, it's very big in our culture, right? So something is going on with them, and let's find out. Me,
If
when I see
someone,
somebody, I want to hug them.
yeah, okay. I can see when you think of that, when it's like, is this their 5-year-old self? It can bring compassion. Like, it can really bring compassion to this person is having a reaction based on their own situation. And when you look at them through that lens, it can really bring compassion instead of defensiveness or fear, actually. Again, we're talking about not physically, verbally, psychologically, emotional, or abusive conversations. We're talking about just conflict in more healthy settings, right? So to notice that.
Correct. And even in situations, in my experience, in the situations where I was in danger, trying to understand, if I could not run and couldn't call for help, for me, my third step is to understand what's going on here, so that I can have a conversation, so that I can find a way for both of us to back to cognitive functioning from the overflooding. So I think this skill of staying curious about someone, even if we are getting flooded,
Yeah.
is important even as a survival skill.
What would you say to someone listening, Anna, who's scared of having hard conversations? What would you want them to know?
It's okay to be scared. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. And it's going to be better once you go through it. Don't do it right away. Don't try it at home right away. Try it outside with lower stakes relationships first. Get good at it. Once you are good at it, it's a superpower.
Well, I think that is a beautiful way to end. Thank you, Anna, so much. It's been such a pleasure. I've learned so much. I took notes today because I really learned so much from you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to talk to both of you. You're such a great combination. And there's so much connection between the two of you. It's just beautiful to watch.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice to hear. Well, thank you all for joining us for Sisters in Sobriety, and we will see you next week.
This was Sisters in Sobriety.
Thank you for listening and being with us today.
If you want to learn more about sobriety and meet your community, find us at sistersinsobriety.substack.com.
Are you a sister in sobriety? Then reach out on social media. We'd love to hear from you.
If you're feeling generous, leave us 5 stars and a review and follow us wherever you listen.
You'll never miss an episode. Until next time.